Whales are the largest animals on Earth. For example, a blue whale can be up to 30 meters long and weigh as much as 200 elephants. Can you imagine? It's a real giant. Their heart is the size of a small car, and their tongue is so heavy that an entire elephant can fit on it. By the way, whales can eat up to 4 tons of food a day. That's like several thousand hamburgers. Whales communicate using sounds that can travel hundreds of kilometers underwater. Their songs are so loud that they can be heard even thousands of kilometers away. And each whale has its own unique voice. Killer whales, which are also whales, are real predators. They even hunt sharks and other whales. But humpback whales are kind. They like to jump out of the water and flap their fins as if they were dancing. Whales breathe air just like us, but they can hold their breath for an hour or more. When they exhale, they release a fountain of water. It looks very impressive. Whales are real travelers. For example, gray whales migrate up to 20,000 kilometers a year. That's like halfway around the Earth. Whales are also long-lived. Some species, like the bowhead whale, can live more than 200 years. And finally, whales play a huge role in the ocean ecosystem. They help maintain balance, and their excrement is fertilizer for plankton, which in turn feeds fish. The next animal is the leopard. Leopards are masters of camouflage. Their spotted skin helps them blend into their surroundings, be it a forest, savanna, or mountains. They can get so close to their prey that it doesn't even have time to realize what's happening. These cats are incredibly strong. They can drag prey that weighs twice as much as themselves up a tree. It's like lifting a refrigerator and throwing it onto the roof of a house. Leopards are loners. They prefer to live and hunt on their own, rather than in a pack. The territory of one leopard can be huge, up to 100 square kilometers. They are also excellent swimmers. Unlike many other cats, leopards are not afraid of water and can easily swim across rivers. Their diet is very diverse, from small rodents to antelopes and monkeys. Sometimes they even hunt fish or crabs. Leopards are real gourmets. Leopards can jump up to 6 meters in length and 3 meters in height. It's like jumping over 2 cars parked next to each other. They have incredibly keen hearing and vision. A leopard can hear the rustle of prey several hundred meters away, and in the dark, it can see 7 times better than a human. Leopards are nocturnal hunters. During the day, they usually rest in the shade of trees or in caves, and at night they go out to hunt. And finally, leopards are a symbol of cunning and strength in many cultures. Their images can be found in myths, legends, and even on coats of arms. The next animal is the Arctic fox. Arctic foxes live in the coldest places on Earth, in the tundra and Arctic regions. Their thick fur and bushy tail help them withstand temperatures as low as -50 degrees Celsius. Can you imagine sleeping in the snow and not freezing? Their fur changes color depending on the season. In winter, they are white as snow to blend in with the environment, and in summer, they turn gray or brown. It's like natural camouflage. Arctic foxes are excellent hunters. They eat everything they can find, from lemmings and birds to berries and even carrion. Sometimes they follow polar bears to eat the remains of their prey. Arctic foxes are also masters of burrowing. Their homes can be real labyrinths with several entrances and exits. Sometimes they use the same burrows for generations. Arctic foxes can cover huge distances in search of food. Some individuals cover up to 100 kilometers in a day. It's like running 2 marathons in a row. Arctic foxes are social animals. They live in families and help each other raise their young. Young foxes often stay with their parents to learn how to survive in harsh conditions. Their population is highly dependent on the number of lemmings, their main food. If there are few lemmings, then there are fewer Arctic foxes. And finally, Arctic foxes are not only a symbol of the Arctic, but also an important part of the ecosystem. They help control rodent populations and spread plant seeds. The next animal is the butterfly. Butterflies emerge from caterpillars, and this process is called metamorphosis. Can you imagine a caterpillar turning into a chrysalis and then into a beautiful butterfly? It's like real magic. Butterflies have 4 wings, and they are covered in tiny scales that create their colorful patterns. Butterflies taste food with their feet. They have taste buds on their feet, so when they land on a flower, they immediately know if it's tasty. Some butterflies, like monarchs, migrate huge distances, up to 4,000 kilometers. Butterflies can also see ultraviolet light. Flowers look completely different to them than they do to us. They see patterns that we don't even notice. A butterfly's life is usually short, from a few days to a couple of weeks. But there are also long livers, like monarch butterflies, which can live up to 9 months. Butterflies are important pollinators. They help plants reproduce by carrying pollen from flower to flower. Without them, many plants simply would not survive. Did you know that butterflies can fly at speeds of up to 50 kilometers per hour? Of course, not all of them, but some species, like hawk moths, are real sprinters. And finally, butterflies are a symbol of beauty, lightness, and change. They are often associated with the soul and freedom. The next animal is the locust. Locusts can fly huge distances, up to 150 kilometers per day. Can you imagine what it's like to fly half the country on your wings? And locusts can also change their behavior. When they are alone, they are just a harmless insect. But when they gather in a flock, they turn into a real pest. It's as if they turn on apocalypse mode. Locust swarms can be simply gigantic, up to 1 billion individuals, and each of them eats as much as its own weight. Together, they can destroy crops over huge areas. Locusts are not a separate species, but a life form of some species of grasshoppers. When there are too many of them, they change color and begin to gather in flocks. Their appetite is simply colossal. One small swarm of locusts can eat as much food as would be enough for lunch for 35,000 people. Locusts can survive in the harshest conditions. They can fly across oceans and survive in deserts. Locusts are an ancient pest. There are even references to locust plagues in the Bible and ancient Egyptian texts. And finally, locusts are not only a problem, but also part of the ecosystem. They help control plant growth and serve as food for many animals. The next animal is the hummingbird. Hummingbirds are the smallest birds on the planet. Some species weigh only 2 grams. That's like 2 paper clips. And their eggs are the size of a pea. These birds are masters of flight. They can fly not only forward, but also backward and even sideways. Their wings beat up to 80 times per second. Hummingbirds feed on nectar, and for this they have a long, thin beak and a tongue that works like a pump. They can drink twice as much nectar per day as they weigh themselves. Hummingbirds are also real energizers. Their heart beats at a speed of up to 1,200 beats per minute. That's 20 times faster than a human's. These birds are champions of migration. Some species, like the ruby-throated hummingbird, travel up to 3,000 kilometers to get to their wintering grounds. Hummingbirds can hover in the air like helicopters. This helps them drink nectar without landing on a flower. Hummingbirds are real fighters. Despite their size, they fiercely defend their territory and can attack even larger birds. They are also very smart. Hummingbirds remember where flowers are and can plan their route to collect nectar most efficiently. And finally, hummingbirds are a symbol of lightness, energy, and beauty. They are often associated with joy and vitality.